From Loitering in Wonderland Studios. With Phoenix West.
Hello, citizens. Welcome to Things That Will Burn in Hell. I'm Phoenix West. Today's episode is an outdated movie that everybody forgot about, starring an actress that everybody's apparently forgotten about since. It's The Messengers from 2007, or as I called it in my book, The Messengers, The Death of Horror. I saw this movie in the theater in Mississippi when I was living down south still, and it was like 4 of us that went and saw it, and we all started laughing hysterically at how bad it was. I remember it being very bird-centric. The crows did everything. Everything that was a plot-driven was revolved around the crows. I don't remember much about the movie. I remember hating it. I've seen it since then, and I was like, that is still fucking terrible. Still fucking terrible. I remember this period of horror movies being very terrible and very generic and very bland and blah, 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 blah. And they just kept making one after another, after another, after another. Similar to right now with all the Insidious and Conjurings, which I don't mind the Conjurings. But all the Paranormal Activities, which I think they stopped making, thank fucking Christ. And the Saw series is dead. Hopefully, maybe. I keep saying it is, but it isn't. And it keeps going back and forth at the time, confusing the fuck out of me. How do you make a movie series so bad that I watched all 8 of them in a row a couple months ago, and I would get to the end of one and start the next one, and that would show a character from the last movie, and I go, who's that guy? I'm a pretty astute viewer if you're not well aware of that. I pay attention. Those guys are so generic and bland and had no characters. I was like, I don't remember this guy. Oh yeah, he was the main character for the last 2 movies. I probably should have picked up on that, but nope. Nothing got through to me. Anyway, without further ado, Things That Will Burn in Hell, number 44, The Messengers, 2007, The Death of Horror. If you haven't seen this movie, it won't matter. Milk can be spoiled, but shit can't be. One thing I've learned from this movie is that it's possible to have an hour and a half of random scenes, and then 5 minutes at the end that attempts to clean up the shit that was the rest of the film. It's bullshit to put all the weight of the film in the last 5 minutes. The ending shouldn't be the janitor for the film. Distribute the weight a little. If you want to have a surprise ending, then do more hinting so it's justified when it happens. This movie should have been shown on the Fox Family Channel and not in theaters. It was like an episode of Full House, only the house is slightly haunted. After every action scene, they have a sit down and talk about their feelings about the last scene. Every time someone in the movie left the room for something, I was hoping they would come back with a script and the movie could get back to being about ghosts. It felt like all the actors were ad-libbing all the dialogue. I don't believe the ghost arms in this movie were ghosts at all. This is my theory. This is the arm of the child's mother trying to pull him out of this shitty movie. Too bad she failed. 15 minutes into the movie and everyone is wondering what crows have to do with the ghosts in the story. After the credits, everyone was still wondering. Who needs answers when you can have pointless scares? Other than the relation between crows and the dead in mythology, there is no concrete connection made in the film. The dead boy in the film drew crows, but that's an extremely loose connection. Maybe if the dead kid drew a plot, then a plot would have been present in the movie. However, he pointlessly drew crows. I wouldn't say this movie had plot holes, because a prerequisite of having holes in your plot is that there has to be a plot in the first place. Can't cut holes in a hole. Excuse me? Has anyone seen the plot? Hello? It's just me out here with sunflowers. What am I supposed to be doing? Hello? Also, if you wanted to know if it's possible to survive when a pitchfork goes right through your chest, apparently it is. 1 hole through a human chest, sure, it's possible to live, but 3 holes is pushing it. Personally, I have a heart and a pair of lungs. Maybe Dylan McDermott's character is the only human being on the planet without organs. They were afraid to kill any character. Why bother making a horror movie if nobody dies? I don't hesitate to say that Casper is a more richly nuanced and frightening ghost film. Lesson learned, don't see a movie directed by brothers if one of them is honestly named Oxide. Danny and Oxide Peng. No joke. Second lesson learned. Tickets will sell if you put an attractive jailbait girl on screen and just let the camera find her ass in every scene. Unless Danny DeVito is holding the camera, there's no reason to have the camera at her ass level for 84 minutes. This movie couldn't even hold up for an hour and a half. This movie was like a glass house, and every minute was another rock thrown at it. Only the rocks are really boring. What the fuck has happened to the horror genre? It's no longer about creating icons of terror, but rather about cheap thrills. Freddy Krueger barely jumped out at the main character. He taunted them slowly, and that was way creepier than popping out at the screen. It's like they're getting ready for all movies to be 3D by having a ghost pop out at the screen. The last horror movie icon was The Leprechaun, and that was 1993. I'd count the killer from Scream, but that was more than one killer, so it doesn't really count. There's a reason horror icons are gone. All horror movies now are about cheap thrills and not trying to leave the audience impacted. People had and still have nightmares about Freddy Krueger. Nobody has had one about some shitty ghost movie anymore. Stop producing horror movies, Sam Raimi. Stick with making shitty Spider-Man sequels. I did rather enjoy when the movie ended and the lights came up and I got to see everyone's pissed off face. Sadly, that was the best part of the movie, and it wasn't even on screen. One thing the Messengers will never cause. Unless it's someone so happy that the movie is finally over. Yeah, hated that fucking movie. I've made fun of Kristen Stewart before. I made fun of her before on stage. Maybe I'll play a clip of that right now. Maybe I won't. It depends. I don't know. It's not great quality, but the premise is still there. I think she's attractive. I don't want to fuck her. Is she a lesbian now? Is that what's going on with her? I can't keep up with her at all. Is she still acting? I don't really know what's going on with her anymore. I really don't pay attention. Anyway, fucking terrible movie. The guy gets stabbed through the chest with a pitchfork, and he's just like, one, and then he just takes care of his daughter, and they live happily ever after in this shitty house in this shitty part of the world, and a shitty movie, and it's fucking terrible. I hated this goddamn movie. I should probably stop talking about it now, because nobody goddamn remembers this movie. You saw the clips, you saw the pictures in the video before, right? Terrible. Don't watch it. Or watch it to make fun of it. It's bad. It's real bad. Real bad. Thousand-yard stare. Go to loitwstudios.com. Check out the videos, check out the shows. Loitering in Wonderland on YouTube. loiteringinwonderland@gmail.com. It's all on the screen. Just type that in your computer. Do the things. Do the things it means. Until next time, and in the meantime, I'll be following that crow trail all the way to hell, where Kristen Stewart's career probably is. She's kind of a train wreck at this point, I think. I don't know what's going on with her. Seems like a cool person to hang out with, but I don't want to see her on screen, really. Sorry, Miss Stewart.